Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name's Laura and today we are doing another pick a card reading, and this time we are asking, what impression do you give off? Now there are two ways we can go about this reading. Number one, we can do the general impression that you give off to the general public, your overall general vibe. Or if you're curious about the impression that you left on a certain group of people or a certain person, take some time now to really envision that person or that group. So for example, if you want to know how your partner's family perceives you and their impression on you, then specifically ask about them. If you want to know the first impression you left off on a new friend, ask about them. Or if you just want to know your impression in general, ask about that. But just clarify your intention for this reading. Take a deep breath, relax, stretch your muscles, and see whatever card or stone you feel most drawn to. Some of you might be drawn to more than one, and that's perfectly fine. Just follow your intuition and pick the one that feels right. And always remember that this is a general reading, so take whatever resonates and leave anything that doesn't. Sometimes we just choose the wrong pile, and there's nothing wrong with that. We have group number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to dive right into it, so go ahead and pause if you are still choosing. Okay, so group number 1, let's see what first impression you give off to people. The animal spirit that is representing you is the crow. Okay, this is a very mystical and magical animal. I don't know why, I just got the message that some of you might really enjoy wearing the color black. You might have black hair or darker features, something of that nature, but the crow is a very revered spirit animal because they represent mystics, witches, psychics, and anybody who is drawn into the more occult areas of life, the more mystical, magical areas of life. And you might be thinking, well, I don't think I'm that, occult. I don't think I'm that alternative. But this can also just be this mysterious energy about you. Maybe you're a little bit more quiet, and then you only really say really profound things when you feel called to, kind of like the crow. They are just, observing. They just have this look in their eye of just watching everything. And then when they really need and want to, they will call. They will make loud bird noises, That is very profound and has meaning, and there's different types of reasons why they do this. So I feel like for you, it's almost like there's this mysterious quality about you where you're not just going to talk to fill the silence. When you do speak, it is to really say something profound, to share information, or to, stick up for what you believe in, So I love that quality about you, but it also just makes people very curious about you in a, almost a seductive way. They're just like, I wonder what's on their mind, I wonder what they're thinking, and it feels like your energy has all of these secrets. And we see here this crow is holding a rainbow egg. It's just like people kind of want to get to know you better. They're like, what lies beneath the surface? They seem like a very interesting person, and I really want to unravel all of their mysteries. So right off the bat, this is a pretty strong first impression that you give off. I'm very curious to see what the other cards have to say. We have a lot of oracle cards today. So next, I'm just going to pull them all out. We have autumn. Yeah, interesting. And it's interesting because I always associate crows with autumn, even though where I live, crows are around all year round. Autumn is all about letting go of things that don't serve us anymore. And it's all about gathering our blessings, gathering our harvest, gathering momentum, and, really only keeping things in our lives in a very long-term way. It's almost like reserving your energies. So what I'm trying to say here is that you seem like the type of person who doesn't give in to BS very often. You're not going to waste time on things that aren't going anywhere. You're not going to waste time on people or situations or drama that is just a time waster. You value your time, and there's this air of respect around you. You respect your own time, your own valuable energy, and you're not going to waste that doing mind-numbing or draining activities, being around people who don't respect you, gossiping, indulging in really lower energy behavior. It's just, you respect yourself and the things that you engage in, and because of that, other people respect you too. So right away, guys, you give off a really strong first impression. This is a good first impression too. You invoke curiosity in people. People view you as somebody very wise, somebody with depth, with wisdom to your soul, with knowledge that they want to uncover, Yeah, it's very profound, and you know, people respect you. It's almost like, you know what, I'm not wanting to waste their time because I can see that they're the type of person who is not going to put up with that. They're not going to put up with, you know, immature behavior and all that, you know. Okay, so we have serendipity. There's like a magical, fun element to this phrase, to this card, to this energy. It's like things falling in place. You know what? This message might not make sense for some of you, but I feel like certain people with a mystical, magical energy around them, certain people who have this connection to spirit, this connection to nature, and just, I don't know how to describe it other than magic, okay? It's almost like serendipitous things kind of happen, and they give off this whimsical energy of just, they just floated into your life. So you're the person. Other people perceive you as just somebody who manifested or floated into their life. And there's a sense of deja vu that people get when they meet you. There's this sense of divine meetings. There's this sense of, do I know this person from a past life? Are we meeting again? Like, you know, because your energy is so mystical and connected, it's almost like it brings out the mystical and connectedness in other people, because that's what people are. That's what relationships are. Every time we meet somebody new, we are exchanging energies, we're exchanging ideas, and that's why you're a different person slightly around every single person in your life and every single person you meet. You might notice how your energy kind of shifts around certain people. You might, you know, want to pull back your energy from certain individuals, whereas other people you can meet for the first time and it just feels so natural and you can talk nonstop. I don't know. It's just like when other people are around you, the reaction that you give them is that they just feel things more deeply, you know? They start looking into things more deeply. Well, what's the deeper meaning behind this? Why am I getting this feeling? Why do I feel like there's a reason that this is happening, you know? I just got a message. Some of you guys might be really into repeating numbers, and you might always point out, oh, it's 1111, make a wish. And that affects people, and then they like go about their day and they're like, oh, look, it's 1010. And they're like, wait, what? I never point out those numbers. And that's kind of just a magical effect that you have on people. So we have, this is happy, and it came out in reverse. So this is interesting. Well, I mean, the message is pretty clear. It's a message of optimism. It's a message of joy. And you know what? I feel like this came out in reverse because it's almost like when people first see you, they might not immediately expect that you're this very high vibrational spirit, because we see that you are very wise. You have a lot of spiritual wisdom, and naturally that, you know, makes you into a more peaceful, more kind, more happy individual, right? But there's something about your appearance where people might not assume that you're the happiest person alive. So again, I don't know if you like wear darker clothes or you have a very alternative look about you. You know how like if you have an alternative look or, you know, a stereotypical look, I guess you could say, some people just make assumptions. Like, for example, I have tattoos, and sometimes, you know, if I run into some older, more conservative people, they just automatically assume that I'm gonna rob them. You know how people make those assumptions, and then they actually talk to you and they're like, oh, you're actually really nice. And it's just like, yeah, of course I'm not gonna rob you. I feel like you guys I feel like in a way you give off that impression, but in your own way, you know? It's like people don't expect you to have all this happy-go-lucky energy. You know who I'm thinking of? Sometimes spirit will use my own memories to kind of portray these messages. I had this old friend who wore the darkest makeup, like raccoon eyes, beautiful neon hair, very dark clothing. And so when strangers would see them, you know, their mind would jump to conclusions. Oh, well, they must be depressed. They must be emo, blah, 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 you know. And if you actually talk to them, they were one of the most warm and loving and nurturing people you would probably ever talk to in your entire life. So that's who I'm thinking of. That's kind of the energy you give off. Your looks do not match your soul. Okay, we have moon cycles. Yeah, guys, we have lots of spiritual animals and guides coming out. Mama Moon, she rules over psychics, the divine feminine, intuition, mystical, magical, alternative, you know? And that's you. That's the vibe you give off. That's the impression you leave. Notice how the moon affects your energy and manifestations, and capitalize upon these cycles. People who are connected to the moon, I also want to point out, this is an impression that you give off, is that you kind of shift and change, you know? You're not exactly 100% the same every single day. You know how there are sometimes people in our lives who, they're very reliable, you know exactly how they're going to show up in your life, and you know, they always come with like the same general energy, outfit, haircut, attitude, energy levels, like that would be like a sun person. That would be like a divine masculine person. You are a moon person. Every day you're a little bit different. You know, your hair might be a little different. Your attitude might be a little different. You might have higher or lower energy levels. And it's just, that's the magic of it. That's the nuance, the serendipity of your energy. It's just like people never know what they're going to get with you in the best way possible. Like it's an exciting energy that you give off. And it's almost like your outfits, your hair, your energy, the way you speak, it all reflects your inner feelings, okay? You're deeply connected to your feelings, and I feel like you wear your heart on your sleeve without even consciously being aware of it most of the time. So like, you might intuitively select out an outfit for a day based on how you feel. Like, okay, today I'm feeling really cozy, I'm gonna wear cozy outfits, okay? Or today I'm feeling like a total baddie, I am wearing heels and leather skinny jeans, I don't know. So you just never show up quite in the same way when people interact with you, and it's exciting, and people really pick up on your flow, on your ever-changing energy, okay? We have career transition. Interesting. Your life purpose is triggering a blessed career change. I wonder what this means. Okay, so this coming out as like a person's first impression of you, I don't know if there's something significant about your career, okay? You might have a really interesting career that people constantly ask you about, and I know a lot of you are into spirituality and psychicism because you're obviously watching a tarot reading. So it just makes me think that the psychics of the group, of the bunch that clicked on this video, picked group number 1, because this would be an example. Like every time I tell people I'm a psychic, they're just like, oh, did a reading for me, and it's just like the number 1 point of conversation. It kind of gets old after a while, to be honest, but like there's something about your career that people want to talk about, or there's just something very substantial or significant about it, okay? Maybe you're going through a big time in your career, like you're actually making a career transition, you recently switched jobs, and so when you're meeting people, that may be the topic of discussion. Or if you asked about a certain group of people and how, or a certain person and how they, their like impressions of you, that might have been a big point of conversation the first time you met or the last time you met. You know, your career, what are you doing for your life purpose, etc. Okay, that's like, I don't know about you guys, that's like my least favorite getting to know you conversation. I can't stand talking about career and jobs. It's just like, I don't know. It's just so boring to me. We have socialite. All right. So even if you think that you aren't the most social, or you kind of are reserved, because I really do sense this fear in some of you that you don't talk enough, or you're just not putting yourself out there much. Maybe you're just an introvert, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you might have this very false fear in your head that people are thinking like, oh, they're weird, why aren't they talking, because you know, maybe it was that like growing up you heard that a lot, but I really don't think you give off that energy at all. In fact, I think that people view you as somebody very charming, very, you know, aware of how to speak, very aware of how to, you know, just be engaged in conversation and not be rude, you know? So I think that's a false impression if that's something you have. Entertaining and smiling. Okay, you might be the type of person who smiles all the time. I have this problem too. I feel like we're very similar, group number 1. I feel like I'm reading myself right now. But like I also have this, I consider it a problem because I'll literally smile in very uncomfortable situations where you shouldn't be smiling. Like if I'll be in the middle of breaking up with somebody and I'll just have a big old smile on my face and it's really uncomfortable. Or maybe like you're a nervous laughter type of person. Yeah, oh man. But entertainment and smiling. So overall, and happy in reversed. You just give off a very warm energy, guys. Very entertaining. Maybe you don't talk that often, but when you do talk, it's always something very like comical or lighthearted, or you say it with a smile on your face, or there's just a certain tone to the things that you say. Like you drop wisdom, don't get me wrong, you drop wisdom, you drop knowledge, but in a very lighthearted way. And I feel like you have this gift of kind of telling people things that might be difficult for them to hear, but in a way where they can hear it because you're being so lighthearted about it. Does that make sense? So like for example, let's just say you're talking to a good friend of yours, and you know, they're like, oh yeah, I just got back with my toxic ex for the 27th time, and it's just like, yeah, you could be a good friend and be like, oh, okay, I mean, it's your life, you know, do whatever. Like, no, you're gonna roast this person in the most loving way possible so that they get it through their head that that's not a good idea, but you're doing it in such a lighthearted and fun way that it also doesn't offend them. Does that make sense? I feel like this is a very particular and advanced interpersonal skill to have, and you possess it, so congratulations. We have babies and children. Yeah, okay. You might have a baby face, or you might just give off this like childlike energy. I don't know how to describe it other than that. Like, just this very cutesy energy, like a very what's the word I'm looking for? Innocent. Even if you're like totally not innocent at all, there's just something about your energy that is just youthful, innocent, and it's just like, oh, protect group number one at all costs. They're innocent. They're cute. You know, this is a great reading. I'm kind of shocked at how great the first reading's going. I was kind of worried that, like, you know, one of these groups would be like, oh yeah, you give off an awful impression and everyone hates you. But no, complete opposite. We have Gemini. Yeah, again, talky sign. You might be a Gemini, but you don't have to be. This is just like the kind of energy you give off. So Gemini, socialite, makes sense. So Gemini energy kind of rolls over acquaintances and casual ways of communicating. So like communicating with neighbors and siblings and, you know, people that you meet out and about, acquaintances, you know, that you might meet at a party, things like that. And so Gemini is really good at surface level conversations, which is interesting because I don't know why. Usually I always bring through the message that most people are like kind of bad or hate surface level conversations. And as a crow person, you might be somebody who doesn't necessarily like and enjoy the surface level of life because, you know, people with the crow spirit go deep, okay? People with the moon spirit, they go deep, okay? And especially autumn as well, like, you're not afraid to talk about death and aliens and government conspiracies, like, you know, like you're not afraid to get in there and really get into the minds of people. But at the same time, with Gemini, with socialite, you can also kind of keep it lighthearted. You can not dive that deep, and you know how to smile and, you know, at least kind of keep the conversation going even when it's really boring. So I think that's a really nice thing. I don't know how you do it. I can't do that at all. We have Libra, another air sign. Again, very talky. Very I'm viewing this as like Libra's the next sign up, you know, because these are both air signs. Wait a second. Okay, you got Scorpio. I was gonna say, tell me you have Aquarius and you literally have all the air signs, but you don't. But this is more, it's same thing with a conversation, but this is a little bit more serious now. Libra represents deep relationships, partnerships, okay? And it also kind of represents fairness and being nice, all right? So I think the overall impression that you give off is that you're very nice, you're very fair. When you talk, it's like people really listen to you. Like, you give very valid points. You know, you're not just babbling on about nonsense that nobody agrees with. Like, you're a very convincing person. I think you'd make an excellent diplomat, or you'd totally win the debate team or something. And it's a skill that I almost feel like you're not acknowledging. Like, there might be a part of you that's just like, oh, I'm not that person. I'm not good at socializing. I'm not charismatic. I can't, you know, leave a good impression. It's like, you're absolutely wrong, 100%. You have a charm about you, all right? And it's a power, it's a skill. And honestly, that's a very important skill to have in life, because life is all about connecting with others. But then you also have the Scorpio card, which is, again, that deepness, you know. I think in your preferred environment, you like really deep interpersonal relationships where you can talk about those deeper aspects of life and just be your full authentic self. And I feel like that's very important for you, because you're not a normal person in the best way possible. Like, you don't have typical normal qualities or aesthetics, or like, you're just not normal, okay? And I think it's very important for you to be happy to have those deep interpersonal relationships where you can get deep. And that's why we have Scorpio and Libra. These are two very, very deep connection signs. You know, these two signs like getting into deep relationships with people, okay? They tend to have, well, at least Scorpios tend to have a very small group of people who know them through thick and thin, like they know the depths of their soul, and then everyone else is kind of an acquaintance. Whereas Libra, I feel like every Libra I have ever met has had a large number of acquaintances and are able to do that casual small talk But yeah, they do derive a lot of their happiness out of the deeper relationships in their life. So I feel like you can do small talk, you can have acquaintances. Is it your preferred cup of tea? Like, if you had an option between, you know, having a nice night in with like 3 very close friends versus a night out with a bunch of like acquaintances you don't know that well, I think you choose the night in, you know? But you could do both and be, you know, decently happy about it, okay? So yeah, that is the impression that you leave off. I'm going to leave your reading there. Thank you for joining me at group number 1. This has been a really fun read. I might do more like this in the future. If you have any pick a card reading ideas that you want me to do, go ahead and leave them down in the comment box. And also, if this resonated with you, I'd love for you to comment down below and just, you know, give a brief introduction and, you know, tell us who you are, okay? Thank you guys. Like, share, comment, and subscribe if you want a personal reading with me one-on-one. The link to that is in the description, or you can just head over to spiritpsychic.org, not .com, .org, okay? I just added some new readings for you guys, so hopefully you enjoyed them. All right, bye. Group number 2, let's see what kind of impression you give off. Group number 1 was so fun, so I hope we have the same fun here. Okay, Phoenix. Wow, this is very significant. I've been really talking about Phoenixes a lot recently, so am I surprised that it came out for one of you guys? I don't think so. But this is very intense energy. This is a spirit, okay? So you are very high-spirited. The Phoenix, first off, again, I don't know why I feel drawn to say this. I feel like many of you might be Scorpios or have substantial Scorpio placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Okay, because I don't know. I think when I think of Phoenix, I think of the sign of Scorpio. Life and death, transformation, complete and utter, just changing everything up about yourself, okay? A 180. So with this Phoenix card, people's impressions of you could be that you're the type of person who went through some type of massive transformation in your life. So this could be like rags to riches story. I don't want it to be the opposite for any of you, okay? I don't want it to be like, oh, you had everything and then you lost it all to an addiction or something. Like, but then you recovered and now you're better than ever, you know? Like, it might be one of those stories. It could be like a massive health recovery that you did before, or maybe you were like really ugly growing up. And then you just became like the hottest person ever, you know? Some type of transformation energy is around you for whatever reason, okay? Maybe some of you are literally a medium, okay? Because that kind of always exists on the brink of life and death and transformation. Or you might even live like on the border of nature and city. There's just something about borders with you. You might be a hedge witch. It's just like, I feel like your entire life, maybe, you've been dancing along these different borders of things, dancing amongst life and death, transformation energy. It's very intense. Also, this Phoenix energy, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I'm getting some sexual tension here. I'm getting some hot girl, hot guy, hot person vibes here, all right? So I'm just saying, some people might look at you and be like, yes, okay. That was not the turn I thought this reading was gonna go in. Okay, we have Jewel of the Sea. I'm gonna have to look this up because I'm not overly familiar with this deck. We have Time to Go, Co-create, beautiful. Some creative energy here, lots of creative energy, lots of sacral chakra energy. That's creation, that's life and death, that's that sexual tension energy we saw. We have You Know What to Do, Indigo and Crystal Children, Finding Balance, Evaluating the Past, Getting Healthy. Yeah, there we have that. We have Pisces, Virgo, and Cancer. Ooh, I'm Cancer. Let's see. Okay, so I want to read what this Jewel of the Sea card means from the book, and it says, "The mysteries of the sea expands our awareness into the mysteries of life. The sea is a reminder that there is much we still don't know about our own world. Allow yourself to open up into the unknown and explore the depths. Dive deeply into the adventure of life. Do not sit on the sidelines. Become an active participant. Get out and begin the journey now. Read and study ancient knowledge. Get out and... and learn, sorry, and learn to tap into the wisdom that is all around you. Become aware in all that you do. At the same time, know that the world and your life are unfolding as they should. Let this mermaid guide you to the jewels that lie within. Water is representative of the astral water, the stuff from which all life is formed. It is our essence. Earthly water is used to sacrament, to bless us. Salt water purifies and heals. The seas are deep and mysterious, just as our essential being. There is much we do not know about the sea and about ourselves. If you could journey to the very depths of your being, what treasures would you find? The journey is there for you to take, and a blessed journey it is. Go ahead, find the jewels that live within your depths. Okay, we get the point. So I think this totally correlates with all the other cards here, okay? With Phoenix, with the Jewel of the Sea, Pisces, Virgo here. Oh my gosh, you guys go deep. Okay, I love your energy because the impression that you give off is that you are always looking to grow and expand. You're always looking to become a better version. And that is single-handedly one of my favorite qualities in people, because the thing is, if you have the trait of always looking for improvement, always looking for newness, and always looking to expand your perspective, you are never going to be held back by the shackles of your own limitations. You're never going to be held back by what society tells you to do, by what you were born into, by your own karma, okay? You will never become one of those old people who are stuck in their ways and, you know, repeating cycles. You know, it's like every single generation there's another generation of older people who are like, you kids are doing this wrong, blah blah blah, you know. We don't have to get into that, but you're never going to become that person. You're always looking to, I'm seeing travel. Okay, especially with time to go, like you're always on the move, you're always looking to travel, to see new things, to meet new people, to try new experiences, to try new food. Like it could even be something super small, like maybe you don't like traveling, maybe you just like learning through books and through the internet and reading more, and like just always developing your spirit. And you know what? That's kind of a part of why we come here onto earth, is to develop as spirits, but also to just be ourselves and co-create in this reality, okay? Now, this Pisces Virgo is really sticking out to me because these are opposite signs, and we have the Phoenix here, which is life and death. You know, it really represents that polarizing energy. So I feel like with this is giving me a story of Pisces energy. Like maybe some of you might have like a Pisces South Node, Virgo North Node, or vice versa. But I feel like with the Pisces here, it's almost like maybe in the beginning of your life, you were very daydreamy, prone to addiction, prone to overeating, prone to just negative ways of being and existing. Like maybe you suffered with really bad mental health issues, depression, anxiety, all that, and you had to grow and transform, and you took matters into your own hands. You're like, how can I grow from this? How can I transform? And it was from your open mind that you were able to break out of the limitations of Pisces as, you know, the 12th sign. And Pisces is a beautiful sign, don't get me wrong, very magical, very mystical, but it also rules over the things that limit us. It rules over prisons and karma, you know? And so I feel like in the beginning of your life, especially, there were a lot of limitations on you, okay? Depression, unhealthy behaviors, dissociation, escaping from your reality because you didn't like it. You know, all normal coping mechanisms for a not so normal or great upbringing, you know? And it was through your integrity, your power, okay? Your just overall strength and character that you broke out of that and you embraced the more Virgo energy on the other side of the zodiac, which is all about just organizing, healing, you know, becoming your best version. You know, Virgo is also, like, the negative side of Virgo is that they're overthinkers. But it's like, you know, you're constantly asking yourself, what can I do better? What can I do better? What can I do better? How can I become my best version? And that is the mindset that got you out of these dark places in life, but at the same time, it can become like your downfall very quickly sometimes when you're just thinking that way too much. And you just need that reminder that you are great, you are amazing. And you know, we see here evaluating the past, there's like a heaviness with your past, group number 2. And I think people can subconsciously pick up on that, you know? Sorry, I'm just drinking some tea. to replenish the energies. But yeah, for whatever reason, people can kind of pick up on that about you. You know, that you've been through a lot. And you know what? I can really feel this in other people too. So I understand why this is something people can pick up on. Like sometimes you just meet somebody and you, oh my God, and you know that they've been through stuff. And I really enjoy meeting those people because they have the strongest characters. They're warriors, they're fighters, you know? And then on the other hand, you can also meet people and be like, you've never had to lift a finger a day in your life. And you know, they're very weak-willed, very lazy, and well, I don't want to be mean, but you know, they're blessed, okay? They're blessed that they never had to go through struggles, and I'm happy for that. But like, when I read you, group number 2, it's just like you have this warrior spirit. I can tell that you've been through a lot, and I can tell that you have profound character, okay? Like, you are just a really genuinely good and strong person. Like, your spirit is rock solid, super strong, unbelievable, okay? And you know what? I feel like you were even like this before you entered this lifetime, because if somebody was weak-spirited and then gone through the crap that you went through, like, they wouldn't have made it. They would certainly not have made it, okay? Now, I also can't ignore this Cancer energy, okay? Cancer, Pisces, these are both water signs, so you're highly in touch with your emotions, especially with Jewel of the Sea here as well. You know, the sea, the water, it's all emotions and connection to spirit, and a little bit of psychic ability as well. Not surprising, you're watching a tarot reading. But, you know, Cancer energy is also interesting because I feel like Cancers are very tough on the outside, but soft on the inside, you know? So it's like you didn't lose your vulnerability, your innocence, because of what happened to you, because of your stories. You still have that. You just developed the appropriate boundaries and ways of self-protection so that you never have to go through that again. Does that make sense? Just like the crab. So think of the crab, because Cancer represents the crab. So they're very soft on the inside, but they have the protection on the outside, you know, and they're not afraid to pinch those who try to disrespect them or hurt them. They're not staying long in their life. No way, Jose. Now, in the past, you might have accidentally let some, I guess you could say, demons into your life. Normal, natural, you know, but through time you learned how to have these healthy boundaries, and you got healthy yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally. And I think right now you're in the process of finding this beautiful balance between being your vulnerable self to the right people in the right circumstances, and then also remaining private and protected around the individuals and situations that you should not let into your vulnerable heart space. Does that make sense? I think you are kind of coming to the conclusion of this very long lesson, spiritual lesson that Spirit has been teaching you, and it's absolutely beautiful. And you know what? I feel like people really do pick up on this balance within you as well. It's just like you're ever evolving, you know? I can't say like 5 years ago this was the impression that you gave off to other people, you know? I feel like actually in the past, you gave off kind of a bad first impression to some people. And let me explain that a little bit. Not a bad first impression, but a vulnerable first impression. Like, maybe you didn't have those boundaries established yet. You did have some emotional damage from your past that you were still healing and working through. You were in a vulnerable state, and that might have not necessarily attracted narcissists and people who wanted to use and abuse you for your kindness. But, you know, when you naturally meet those types of people throughout your life, they saw that you were in a very vulnerable space of healing and have not yet established the self-esteem, the boundaries to protect yourself from those people, you know? So I think in the past, the impression that you gave off was a little bit like, I'll give you an example, and I absolutely hate this example. You know how some misogynistic gentlemen will sometimes, you know, see a very sexually open girl who might have like an alternative style about her and be like, oh, she has daddy issues. Like, that might have, I'm not saying that people saw you in the past and said, oh, you got daddy issues, but it's just like they might have like kind of, oh man, how they might have kind of like picked up on the fact that, you know, you were working through some issues. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I think a normal, healthy-minded person isn't going to think twice about that impression. It's just that when it comes to dealing with gross individuals who want to use you or, you know, just get a lot out of you without giving back, that would be a negative impression on them. Or I guess a positive impression on them, because then they're like, I can, you know, blah, blah, whatever. Anyways, not the point. Right now, you come off very strong. You've done your inner healing work. I'm so proud of you, group number 2. I'm sorry that people in your past sucked. Is all I can say there. But the thing is, I think you had to go through all this because you almost had to like heal yourself and reparent yourself, and through that process, not only did you heal yourself, but you became even better than you would have been if you were just born into a very easy life. Does that make sense? So remember that example we said where it's just like you can see somebody and you can meet somebody and tell that they've like never had to lift a finger a day in their life and they have like kind of a weaker character about them. You don't give off that impression. So like, yes, the past might have been very negative for you, but on the other hand, I feel like you wouldn't have unlocked your fullest potential and power if those things didn't happen. And I'm not saying whatever happened to you was okay or anything like that. It's just like you have that warrior spirit. You are strong, and you know, you already were strong before all this happened, but it's just like through healing, you became a healer, you know, like Chiron. You turned your greatest weaknesses into your biggest strengths. So that's just beautiful. I think you're extremely powerful. Yeah, co-create. Coming out here, this is giving me the energy of I can do whatever I want in my life. I can create anything that I want in my life. You know, I'm gonna create the life of my dreams, get the house of my dreams, the life of my dreams, whatever that looks like for you. It might not even be a house. It might be, you know, living a nomadic lifestyle. It might be traveling. It might be having a really awesome career, or like cats. I don't know. But like, there's this confidence about you. Like, I can do whatever I want. I can do whatever I set my mind to. And I feel like you had to put yourself into this very confident mindset because at some point you realized, like, if I kept feeding into this insecure mindset or this victimized mindset, I'm never going to be living life to my full potential. And so now you had to like almost train yourself to be confident, train yourself to see your power, to see your worth. And you don't even realize the amount of power you have unlocked within yourself by doing that. Like, and by power, I mean like the ability to do what you want in life. Some people live their entire life just in the same old hometown, never going anywhere, never really taking action on their dreams, just kind of living life by the book. And it's just like, you're not that person. You were able to break out of that. And that's awesome. And people see this about you. Like, you inspire people. They're just like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be like them. So the impression that you give off to people is one of massive inspiration. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you were like motivational speakers. Okay, not all of you, but like some of you might even be like fitness coaches, and your whole backstory is like, I used to be super unhealthy, or like maybe you're a therapist and you have a really, you know, bad background that, you know, caused mental issues for you, and through healing and overcoming them, you got really attracted to psychology, and now you can help other people heal. You know, there's some type of like motivational energy that you give off to people, even if it's just through casual contacts. Like, maybe you don't even have a career or a life purpose like that at all, and it's just through casual conversation and telling people your stories and the things that you've been through and just your general advice about life that people are really motivated. So I think you're naturally a strong motivator, a healer, and you know, like, people feel stronger. You're a good role model is what I really want to say. You're a good role model. Oh man. And we see that here with Indigo and Crystal children as well. It says you have a bond with children. In particular, you can help children who are sensitive. Yeah, like, not just children, but people in general who are more sensitive in general, you know, psychics, autistic people, people on the spectrum, any type of sensitivity really. Like, you just have this very respecting nature about you. And also, I feel like it's because you've been through so much, you have a very high degree of empathy, like more so than other people, you know? I always say that people who've been through a lot in life usually turn into one of two people. Number one, they turn into people who hurt others like they were hurt because they haven't done the healing work to themselves. Or number two, they turn into the nicest people in the world who do the most amount of healing and positive energy work in the world. And I think you're in that second group, so that's awesome. You know what to do. Trust your inner knowledge and act upon it without delay. Yeah, this is another strong leadership skill, guys. Like, you are really good leaders and healers. Oh man, this is just like, you have a knack for problem solving, especially when it comes to other people's issues or just issues in general. You know, like it's just like somebody could tell you a problem they're dealing with and you just boom, have the knowledge they need to get out of that problem. Now, whether they listen to that is on them and what their decisions, but it's just like, we see here a lantern. He's holding a lantern. So this is giving me light worker energy. I see the path forward. I see the best path forward for you. Light workers are people who are given the gift of being able to see the highest evolution of all. You know, the potential of what this planet could be, the potential of what a person's life path can be, the full potential, you know, their highest good. So when we do psychic readings and we're saying like we are reading for the highest good, it's like you can tune into any future path because there's thousands upon thousands, an infinite amount of future paths that a person or organization can take, because free will is a thing that happens. And as a light worker, you can see the best path. And so I think you have these natural light working abilities where you can kind of guide people in the right direction in their life. You can see the best path forward, okay? And those latent psychic or light working abilities that you've always had your entire life, this is something you were born with. I can totally tell that. This is what guided you towards this massive healing energy and journey. And this is why like people are almost shocked if they hear your full story, if you ever tell anybody your full story, because it's just like, they might think to themselves, I don't know how they did that. Like I would never be able to like make it through that. And it's because you're a light worker that you were able to make it through that. You know, some people just have that archetype within them, the wounded healer, the one who heals to learn how to heal, okay? So you guys are just awesome. You give off a really good, very, I don't want to say serious, but just very strong first impression of like a very powerful leader and motivator, okay? Even if you're thinking to yourself like, oh, I'm just this little person and I don't really make that much of a difference. No, you're wrong. You're totally wrong. Hate to break it to you, but wrong, okay? So yeah, thank you guys for joining me. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you want a personal reading with me one-on-one, the link to that is in the description. spiritpsychic.org. I just added some new readings there for you guys. I added a messages from your spirit guides reading, so if you want very personal messages from your spirit guides, not a general reading, just you, go ahead and get that. I also offer an aura reading, 30-minute and 1 hour long reading on any questions or subjects that you need advice on from spirit. Oh my gosh, I think I added another one. I can't remember. Yeah, just go check it out. It's totally worth it, all right? And there is a 7 business day waiting period right now, which is totally not long at all. So I have time. Go ahead and get one. Bye. Okay, group number 3. Let's see what impression you leave on people or on the people that you're asking about. We have the golden egg. Okay, this is very powerful. Right off the bat, you guys leave an awesome first impression. It takes years for people to master the energy of the golden egg. This is all about having that quiet, tender vulnerability, strength, and openness to other people's experience. So when people first meet you, there's just this tenderness about you, this inner knowing. And I don't know, I'm getting visions of your eyes. You have very accepting eyes, I want to say. I know it's a weird word to use, but it's almost like there's this calm presence about you where people just feel at ease in your presence and they feel like they can really just open up and say anything to you. Now, this happens a lot with empaths and light workers and people who are, I guess you could say, like more spiritually sensitive, where they'll meet somebody and they just have such a calming, loving presence that these people will just open up randomly about things that are troubling them. You know, they'll open up about things that might even be a little bit inappropriate at the time to you. So for example, maybe you just meet somebody and then, you know, you're 10 minutes into the conversation and they just feel your very comforting and peaceful presence, and they might start, you know, really just kind of pouring their problems onto you, is all I can say. Like, they might just open up and tell you about something very difficult that they're going through or some of the challenges they're facing, completely unprompted, okay? And the reason why that might happen to you a lot is because of the energy you give off. This calming, healing, open-hearted energy, okay? Very beautiful. Very beautiful. And I wouldn't be surprised if many of you who selected group number 1 came into this life as a healer. You have a very calm, healing energy. It's kind of like, you ever see somebody who does a lot of yoga or who meditates a lot, like a monk or like a yoga master, and they just have this calm, confident, open presence about them. That's the energy that you give off. Even if you don't do yoga, even if you don't meditate, that's just your natural essence. And it's very beautiful. That's a great thing, okay? We have painting poppies. So the book says, creativity can be as simple as painting poppies. These fairies love what they are doing. Every person has a special area in their life where they shine. It's up to you to find your gift and to consciously nurture it. If you truly love what you are doing, you cannot help but be successful. Don't allow others to tell you that your dreams are impossible. If there is something that you love doing, go for it. Ask the fairies to help you connect to the universal creative energies and to focus them on your work. If you chose this card, you may be searching for that special gift you have. Never fear, you will find it. Or you may know what your gift is, but be hesitant about putting in effort to develop it. In that case, this card is telling you to get on with it. Quit wasting time. Some gifts are more tangible than others. You can see a painting or hear a person playing music, but other gifts might come in more subtle ways. Be willing to explore and find out what your gift is. When you find it, you will love it, and so you will know it is yours. It's time to embrace your confidence and determination. Effort reaps rewards. Okay, so I'm seeing this as the impression that you give off is that you have a very particular hobby or life purpose or skill that people really notice and want to talk about with you. So for example, you might be a musician, and that's like a really big talking point for people, and you know, they kind of view you in their mind as like, oh, that's the musician. Or maybe you're an artist, or maybe you make your own clothes, or maybe you just love cats a lot and it's like a deep part of your personality. I don't know. There's so many different ways that this message can come through, but there's something very substantial about one of your skills, talents, or interests where it's like almost a part of who you are as a person. You know, it's intertwined. Like I know people who are really into horses, for example, and that's like their big passion. They dedicate their life to it, and it's just part of who they are, and so they give off that energy, like, oh, that's the horse-loving person. Does that make sense? So whatever is really popping into your head about like what this could be for you, go for it. You know, for example, people might view me as, oh, that's the tarot reader, right? Because it's a very huge passion of mine, and every time I'm in a conversation I always have to mention astrology or something weird like that. So, you know, you have something of that nature, your own little skill, your own little interest that comes through very strongly when you give some first impressions to people. All right, we also have angel therapy. Give your cares and worries to us angels and allow us to take your burdens. I feel like you are the angel in this, okay? Like there's a very earth angel energy around you. I think you are an earth angel, group number 3, okay? And that is, you know, angel spirits and souls who come down into earth to kind of help heal people and help almost like take away the negativity, the burdens, the darkness that currently resides over humans. You know how like we just all kind of sense that there's this disconnection from nature, that we aren't living quite fully in harmony, the life that we're supposed to be living. As an earth angel, a part of your mission here, I guess you could say, is to help restore that. And it's not anything big. You don't have to like quit your job and dedicate your life to this purpose, because you're already fulfilling it just by being you, because you're naturally a very gentle, calm, and very loving soul, and that energy radiates off you. So literally just by living, just by existing, you are fulfilling your soul purpose, okay? And with this card, it really just clarifies that message we got earlier, where there's just something about your energy that people feel like they can just open up to you, you know, and just say things. And I feel like sometimes after meeting you, people might think to themselves, wow, I can't believe I just talked about that thing with that person. Like, that was so out of character for me. Like, you just have like an effect. Spirit just like said in my head, like an aphrodisiac. I don't think that's the point we're trying to make here. I mean, you might have that effect on people, don't get me wrong. I mean, you're probably very attractive, but you know how like if you eat certain foods that are an aphrodisiac, it just naturally kind of makes people more turned on. Like, there's something about your energy that is almost like a calming thing, you know? You're like the chamomile of energies. Does this make sense at all? I don't know. Anyways, we're moving on. We have claircognizance. Pay attention to your thoughts and ideas that come to you. They are answered prayers. Okay, so you have a very strong knowing, very strong claircognizance. So this is the ability to just kind of know things, you know, without any explanation. You just kind of have the answers to questions that people are looking for. People come to you, giving you their problems, and you're just like, oh, well, I know how you can resolve that. Just do this. And I feel like you've always had this ability for claircognizance your entire life, so it's not something you necessarily developed, but it is something you can develop more if you want. Yeah, you just have this inner knowing, okay, which is very beautiful, and yeah, people will pick up on that. You give off the impression that you just give some really solid advice, you know, you're very grounded, logical, centered, calm, and I feel like people would definitely choose you out of a group to ask a question or to help them resolve a problem. Some of you guys might even be interested in therapy or life coaching or something like that, or maybe you're just like the mom or dad of your friend group. You know, you're always the stable-headed one, the logical one that you know, has the very good advice. Now, whether people follow that or not is not your business, but you have the good advice and people go to you for that. We have fork in the road and go the distance. She's going for distance. She's going for speed. This is my cat Volek. He's very playful, so you might give off a very playful energy. And that's why he's drawn to your group. He didn't come out for any other group. Okay, so what these two cards are telling me is that you're almost like the reluctant leader. That's the energy you're giving off. Because with the fork in the road, this shows the decision-making process, right? And so I really feel like sometimes your friends or the people that you're asking about, let's just say they don't really know where to go out to eat. They're like, well, what do you want? Asking you, and you might not want to make that decision, but for whatever reason, there's something about your energy where people are just naturally drawn to you when it comes to making decisions, getting advice, seeing what the best path forward is, because you have this angelic energy, this light worker energy, right? It's just a natural energy that you give off. And I almost feel, group number 3, that you don't necessarily want to be the leader. You know, maybe you just want to live a calm and peaceful existence, but I feel like circumstances oftentimes put you in positions of leadership, even if you're not 100% comfortable with that. So I think that's very interesting. This go the distance card has to do with a long haul effort and having the patience to make the right decisions in the long term. So this can show you might be financially responsible, for example, saving up for retirement, thinking more in the long term rather than just in the now, if that's possible for you. This could also be being patient enough to make a very long haul type of decision. Like maybe some of you have been going to school to get your doctorate or PhD, which is a very long, hard process, but you're able to really put in that time and effort and, you know, think more in the long-term future as opposed to just right now. And I feel like you're the type of person that likes to make decisions based on longevity, based on is this going to work out in the future rather than just what feels good right now. And that's why you're good at making decisions, and that's why people view you as smart and, you know, somebody worthy of getting advice from, because so many people just make decisions and do things based off of what feels good right now. And you are more logical than that. You are going to be like, okay, well, what implications does this decision have in the future? And I think you're very, very intelligent when it comes to decision making, okay? And that's why so many people might go to you for advice. And even if you aren't a therapist or a life coach, I think you'd make a really great one, okay? Because you have this ability, and this is an ability that not everybody has. I would even argue that most people don't have good decision-making skills, okay? I mean, just look at the state of the world right now. It wasn't good decisions that got us to where we are. We have psychic powers growing, yeah, and here we have a psychic ability, so I would not be surprised if you guys are psychic. In fact, I am almost positive that you are definitely claircognizant, meaning that sometimes you just know things without explanation. Like, you just guess what people are thinking and feeling, and you just kind of know what the outcome of certain situations will be. Like, without explanation, like you might meet somebody and go on a first date and you might just say, well, I just don't feel like this is going to work out in the long term. And you might not have any factual evidence to support that, but it's just a feeling, it's a knowing. And yeah, so it's a very helpful thing to have. We have home and garden. Yeah, I don't know, I just see you guys kind of like sipping on some tea, enjoying a nice open window and some flowers outside. Even if you don't have that, that might be like your dream, like to have a cozy little cottage with a garden out front with lots of flowers and bees buzzing about. And you got your little cozy blanket, and maybe you're close enough to a nice town or a city so where you can still have some options of things to do. But you're still integrated in nature enough to just have your peaceful zone, your personal space. I don't know if that's your dream, but I just envision this for you. And I think if that is your dream, you will achieve that in this lifetime, okay? Especially with Go the Distance here, definitely. A healing. Yeah, you give off a healing energy. Yeah. But people's impression of you overall is that you might say things sometimes where they perceive you to be psychic. Like, wow, how did they know that? Or how do they how are they this smart? How do they make these good decisions? There's just something very psychic about you that people really pick up on, and you have this healing energy. You give off the energy of a therapist. You give off the energy of a motivational life coach, or just somebody very grounded, stable, solid advice, and you have a healing energy that you radiate. Like I said, people just feel comfortable around you. Have you ever met somebody and you just don't quite feel comfortable around them? Like you don't really want to be your full self around them, and you're just not at ease and they're kind of draining. You give off the opposite energy. You're one of those people where people just kind of naturally feel at home around you, okay? Which is beautiful, wonderful energy. And then finally we have 3 zodiac signs here. So we have Leo, we have Capricorn, and we have Aries. Okay, so some fire energy. We are currently in Aries season. This could be your sun, moon, rising. You could have a lot of this in your chart, or you just simply give off the similar energy as these signs. So with Leo, this is a sign that does kind of want that acknowledgement, that, enjoys the, I guess you could say, the attention of being seen as somebody with a healing energy, and this, everything we just described. With this Leo energy, I think you also just enjoy entertainment and children and all things Leo. So Leo rules over entertainment, doing fun things, fun activities, living life to the fullest. It also rules over children. Even if you don't have any, there's just something that gives off a lot of childlike joy about you, okay? You might be interested in sports. Everything ruled by Leo is kind of like sports, entertainment, and children, okay? So those things might be some things that you're interested in. With Aries here, this is a cardinal sign. Actually, Aries and Capricorn are cardinal signs. So this is that leader energy that we were picking up on earlier. You're not afraid to make decisions. Even if you don't want to, you will make decisions, and you will make bold choices. You're not afraid to kind of live life boldly whenever you have to, But at the same time, there's this beautiful, peaceful energy around you. So it's a nice balance. And then we have Capricorn, which is the kind of working sign, I would say, CEO energy. And again, another leadership sign. Capricorn energy kind of rules over managers and leaders and CEOs. So I don't know, I just get this feeling you might not necessarily want a management or leadership position, but you somehow always tend to draw those in towards you. Does that make sense? Or maybe you're self-employed and it's just that's just what it is. I think throughout your life, you are going to be put in a lot of roles of leadership, whether you like it or not. Think of George Washington. He didn't want to be the president. He didn't want to be the king or whatever. He was kind of just put into that position because everybody was a big fan of him. That's the same energy I'm getting from you. Not to say you're going to be the next president. You might be, I don't know. But it's just the people around you always put you in this position. Because you are a really solid person. You're a really good person, okay? So thank you guys for joining me. You have a lovely energy, and I am happy to read for you. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already to see some future videos. Comment your thoughts and feelings down below. I'd like to know how this resonated with you, and just give a introduction, who you are, and how this resonated, I guess. Like this video if you want to help a gal out, and if you want a personal reading with me one-on-one, the link to that is in the description, spiritpsychic.org. I just added some new readings there, so you can get a reading where I get messages from your spirit guides, or you can ask any questions or a situation in your life that you need some help with. You can get a 30-minute or 1-hour reading on that. And you know, you don't have to set aside some time. So this is a reading where you will email me your concerns or your questions, and then I will film your reading just like this, but with my face, not, you know, on the table like this. And I will send it to you within 7 business days, okay? So go ahead and get that if you're interested, and I will see you for the next video. Bye. Last but not least, group number 4. Let's see what impression you give off. So the spirit animal representing you is the horse. Oh, this is such a mature, earthly energy. Beautiful. This is stamina, wisdom. There's like a sacredness about your energy. Having the horse energy represent the impression you give off is so wonderful, because you really give off this sense of freedom to other people. This sense of you can rely on yourself, and you are also reliable. So people, when they meet you, they view you as somebody super reliable, super free, and just this loyal, hardworking, and dependable person. So that's a lovely first impression to give off. Now, most people who have this horse spirit connecting with them, they weren't just born this way, you know? So maybe in the past you didn't necessarily give off this impression, but this comes from cultivating a daily practice of physical and mental stamina. So taking care of your body on a daily basis through exercise and nutritional eating, and then taking care of your mind through meditation and, you know, just healthy coping mechanisms to make sure that you are mentally clear and focused, okay? So you weren't always like this. You had to develop into this. You know, you've over time cultivated this beautiful balance. And this is a very like self-reliant energy, you know how to take care of yourself. You are dependable on yourself. And that's what makes you give off the impression that you're dependable in general, okay? So somebody who really can't take care of themselves, like, I'll give you an example. Somebody who doesn't know how to like cook for themselves and they live on their own and they just order takeout all the time and eat like SpaghettiOs, they wouldn't have the horse energy connecting with them, okay? This is somebody who knows how to keep their body healthy. I mean, obviously they might eat junk food sometimes, they might order out sometimes, or, you know, have a sweet tooth, but, you know, overall they know how to take care of themselves. They know how to, you know, clean up after themselves. Like, I know that sounds so basic, but you'd be shocked at the amount of people who can't be dependable on themselves, let alone anybody else. But, you know, overall, you're free, you're dependable, and that's the impression you give off. And, you know, people think you're really good. And also, I don't know why, I think some of you who selected group number 4 might have been asking how your in-laws or how, like, your partner's family views you, because I just got this vision of, like, meeting a family and they're just like, wow, that person's really good. You know, like, they seem very, like, smart, intelligent, loyal. You know, they can take care of themselves. They're not, like, mentally, emotionally troubled. Even if you are, okay? Even if you're like, Laura, I don't know what you're talking about, like, I'm insane, I'm all over the place. You give off the impression that you have your crap together, you know? Okay, so we have always, oh, beautiful, hot, wonderful. And again, I'm seeing that many of you might have asked, like, how does my partner view me? How do their family view me? How do their friends view me? For some reason, I feel like many people who were asking about their lovers, people, right, selected this group. This is a really good card though. Okay, so I had to briefly look at the book because this is the newer deck. I'm still getting acquainted to it, and I really want to point out these 2 sentences that are really sticking out for me. Where did it go? It said, this card may indicate that you have or wish for a special person in your life who will promise to always be there for you. First, you must always be there for yourself. Isn't that not exactly what we just said? You give off this dependable energy of that you're here for yourself. You know how to take care for yourself. And because you do that, people assume that you know how to care for others as well, because you do, you know? That's just the law of attraction, you know? So within, as without, or whatever that sentence is, whatever that phrase is. As within, so without. You are dependable on yourself, and therefore you are dependable to others, okay? So you are a very stable person, a very loyal person. You know, when you make a friend for life, and people really pick up on that energy. And I think you're really good at attracting people who have good intentions, who want to be here for the long haul, because you give off that energy. Yeah, and I see that you have a lot of people who are very devoted to you. You have a lot of people who want to be by your side for life. You know what I mean? Like I'm seeing like a horse with a very loyal human companion, you know? Like that's my horse. I would never sell them. I would never give them up. They're my bestie. You know, we're a dynamic duo here. Like that's what I'm getting here. Lots of loyalty surrounds you. Many people, when they meet you, they think to themselves, that's somebody that I want for life. That's somebody I want to be with for life. Even if it's just a platonic, friendly way. It's just like, yeah, you know what? This is like long-term energy. Okay, and if you're asking how a partner views you, this is a really good sign that like they want to be with you for the rest of your life. Okay, I'm just being honest, like they're here for the long haul and they view you as somebody they would want to dedicate their lives to for the long haul. So beautiful energy, beautiful, just beautiful. We have why, and we have chop wood. Okay, so this why, I don't think it's a negative impression that you give off, but I think sometimes when you meet people, they might ask the question like, why are you in this circumstance? Or like, why are you here? So for example, if you're asking about a partner and how the impression that you give off on them, they might ask like, why is this beautiful, radiant person attracted to me? Like, what's the motivation here? I don't get it, you know? Or maybe when you meet people, like you might have some friends that are substantially like not on your level, you know, like you might be you are very wise and intelligent and loyal and dedicated, and like maybe you surround yourself with some people who just are kind of like lower vibrational, gossipy, not quite on the same level as you. And you know, sometimes people might just kind of look at you and be like, why is that person surrounding themselves with these types of individuals? Or like maybe you're extremely loyal to a certain job that is underpaying you or something like that, and people are like, why are they in that life situation? I just don't get it, you know? So I don't think it's a negative impression on you, like you're not being viewed as bad, but I think sometimes people see your value and they might question like, does this person know that they can do better? Like, do they know that they don't need to stick around these situations that aren't good for them? You know? So I don't know if there's something like that in your life that you're dealing with that you really don't have to deal with that might trigger this why question. Or maybe like if you I'm seeing like if you met your partner's friends or family and that's who you're asking about, they might be like, wow, you're so good for him. Why are you with this guy? Or why are you with this girl? Like in a joking way, that might have been something they said. So that's interesting. We have chop wood over here as well. This card, I'm kind of surprised this came out because this has to do with like the daily chores of life. You know, not every moment of life is going to be exciting and passionate. Like it does involve some tedious work and effort. And so with this card here, I feel like you kind of do that peacefully. I don't know, there's this theme that keeps coming up with you about knowing how to take care of yourself in a very practical way, okay? And you know what? This is interesting. So like, for example, let's just say somebody brings a lunch to work. You know, they just might bring something really simple, like a sandwich in a plastic baggie or something. Like you might put extra detail and extra attention into those little things, right? So you might bring like a really beautifully made salad and, you know, a homemade pesto dip or something. Like you put extra detail into these little things in life because you have this innate understanding that it's the little things in life that brings happiness. And to put detail and love and attention in those little chores, those little things that we have to do in our daily rituals, you know, that just improves your vibration overall. You carry that wisdom, and not that many people are aware of that. Not that many people have this knowledge that your daily practices and rituals are like 90% of what goes into your happiness and fulfillment, right? So you're able to look at the chores of life and make a meditation out of it, you know? So for example, like some people use cleaning as like a meditation. Like whenever they're overthinking, they'll just clean their house and it clears the mind as well. Or if they know situations troubling them and they are getting too worked up about it, they'll just go for a walk. And I feel like in these tiny little daily rituals that you've built up, you have managed to make yourself into this like extremely emotionally mature and grounded person. It's not some massive wake up ritual that you have to do. You don't do anything extreme or crazy to be the mature person that you are. It's in the little things. And I think the nuance that you're able to find in your life and the magic that you find in the little things in life really rubs off on people, and they take note of that, and they take note of the things that you do, and they're inspired by that. Okay, I hope that makes sense. We have comfort. Yeah, it's the little comforts in life. I'm helping you in your time of need, helping your heart heal. You have a very comforting presence. Yeah, like people feel safe around you. Safe, reliable. Think of the horse, you know? Safe, reliable, trustworthy. You know, you trust that your horse can carry you. You trust that they have the stamina to move forward. Okay? You're just a very safe and comforting person to be around, a very warm person to be around. Like, I just want to like snuggle up next to you, group number 4, next to like a fire, maybe have some hot cocoa together and just chat. Like, that's the energy you give off. That's the impersonation you give off. And you know, you might put a little extra detail into that. Like, you might put a little cinnamon or a little whipped cream in my hot cocoa, because you know that it's the little things in life that are magical. Like, you just give off this beautiful energy. We have patience. Yeah, and then look at the card, an angel just tending her little garden, putting all the little details in her appearance. Her dress has little ribbons and her hair's up, and it's just, you live life so effortlessly. Like, if I could summarize you as a person, it would be like the perfect messy bun. You know? Like, it just looks like it's so natural, but at the same time, it's so elegant. It's so just well done, you know? Like, you make life look effortless. That's a good thing. But yeah, this is also just a patient, reliable, strong energy about you. I think as a society, we are growing a little bit too impatient, you know, with like things like TikTok and instant gratification of, you know, Amazon overnight delivery and just social media in general. It's just like we can get whatever we want as soon as possible. And even like the editing on YouTube, for example, so many people just cut out all of the blank spaces and edit their videos so that it's just like boom, 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 information, things, stuff. And so I think personality-wise, the effect that has on us is that we become impatient. We become always constantly seeking the next big thing, the next exciting thing, like almost like we're all hyped up on caffeine, personality-wise, but you still maintained this ancient wisdom, this ancient calm, comforting patience. You know, let's give life time. There's no rush. You're here for the long term, the long haul, okay? You're willing to water your relationships, water the things in your life, and improve. You're the type of person to fix something rather than throw it out and get a new one, okay? You, like, it's just so wonderful, and that's why you give off a comforting energy. Think of like an old leather recliner that somebody's been sitting in for years, and it's just like it just morphed to their body. It's just the perfect fit. And you know, some people might prefer the new recliner, but it's just not the same level of comfort or durability or well built as that old recliner. Sorry to compare you to a piece of old furniture, but I mean, like, there's just something so familiar about you, something so comforting about you. And sometimes when people first meet you, they think that you might have had like a past life together, or like your souls know each other. Especially if somebody's more spiritually minded, they might have those thoughts about you because your energy is so comforting. But the thing is, you might not even had past lives with those people, because that's just who you are as a person, you know? Just there's this energy of there's no rush, like we're here for the long haul. If we have a problem, we're gonna fix it together. You know, you give off this deep sense of loyalty and devotion and patience, and it's just very refreshing, because I feel like so many people are lacking these qualities nowadays. So you're definitely a gem, definitely somebody I would love to have in my life personally. Okay, we have travel. Yeah, I'm not surprised with the horse spirit coming out. This is free-spirited traveling, because you know, horses in the wild, you know, they move a lot, they migrate, they go distances, you know, they're very independent spirits, and that's you. And I would be very shocked if you hadn't traveled before, but even if you haven't, it might be something that you always wanted to do. We have animals. Yeah. You know, I think the thing about animals and working with animals is that it almost puts you into the present moment entirely. Like, no worrying about the past, no worrying about the future. When you're interacting with animals, you're just completely present, and I feel like you give off that present energy to people. Like, I'm here 100%. I'm hearing what you're saying. You might be a really good active listener. okay, which is, oh my god, such a great skill to have. I really can't stand when people don't have that skill, to be honest. It's frustrating when you're trying to talk to somebody and they're not like asking you questions and like actually listening to you, but you have that skill, and oh, thank God. You might also be somebody who is interested in animals. You might have pets or just really enjoy animals in general. You might work with animals. So yeah, we have saying hello. This is a card all about bringing new people into your life, saying hello, being open to new friendships, new relationships. And I feel like, you know, even if you're not the most friendly person or outgoing person, people just kind of feel like you are friendly. They feel like, you know, I could be friends with this person, you know, we can be like besties. And I think you have a large amount of people who you meet who are just like, I want to be that person's friend. I want to get to know them better. I want to be with them long term. And then we also have breaking addictions. That's interesting. So I wonder if you had an addiction in your life before, and it doesn't have to be like drugs or alcohol, but of course it can be. It could also be like maybe a sugar addiction or social media addiction or internet addiction. I know I'm addicted to the internet. Something like that, that you kind of broke out of. Or maybe you like broke out of the matrix. That's more so what I'm seeing with that card. And by that I mean like you are a free thinker. You think for yourself. You know, you're not brainwashed. So that's interesting. And then we have Taurus. I definitely see this Taurus energy in you. Very earthly energy. I would be shocked if you didn't have an earth sign in your big three, sun, moon, rising. Okay? Let me know if you do. If you have Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo in your sun, moon, or rising, let me know down below. I'd be very interested in that. But anyways, Taurus is a very earthly sign. Enjoying the simple pleasures in life, you know? Food, home, sex, all that good stuff, right? And the thing about Taurus is they have this refined trait that we talked about. It's just like they get joy out of adding a little bit more magic and conscious intention in the very little things in life. So, for example, I don't know if you've ever visited the home of a Taurus, but it's just like they have a knack for making the little details very elegant. You know, they don't just make a pasta. They make a pasta with like a nice cheesy finish on a nice plate, and they present it well. They don't just listen to music. They have a refined taste in music, and it's very specific, very good, in fact. They don't just dress themselves, you know, they dress in clothes that were carefully picked out. And, you know, it's just that attention to detail that changes everything. And you have that. We have Sagittarius. Yeah, again, Sagittarius. When I think of Sagittarius, I'm literally not even joking, I think of horses. Every single time. So I'm going to put that up there. Sagittarius is that freedom, that travel, that adventure, that worldly energy. I wouldn't be surprised if you know a lot of international people, if you've been international yourself, moved countries, or engaged in higher learning in some way, done something Sagittarius-like. Sagittarius rules over higher learning, education, and just being a part of the world. It represents the international, okay? It represents travel, free thinking, being your free person. I was literally just thinking about Sagittarius this morning. This is what happens when you're a psychic professionally and you just talk about this stuff all the time. I literally woke up just thinking about Sagittarius. And I was just like, thinking to myself, every Sagittarius person I've met, it's almost like they never quite can be pinned down by somebody. Like, they're just their own very unique soul. Like, they're just completely individual. And they almost like view their lives as like, this is my life, and then I will, you know, walk alongside people and be loyal to them, of course, but like, they always maintain their sense of individuality and their sense of personality. So that's what I love about Sagittarius. And that's what I love about you, group number 4. You have a very, like, you're you. Nobody could be you except for you. You know, sometimes you meet people and you're like, that person's definitely a background character. Like, they have no personality whatsoever. You are not like that. You are very you. Does that make sense? And people pick up on that unique personality, and they pick up on the fact that like you're just this independent, free-spirited person that can't be pinned down, and there's like a wildness about you that makes people so attracted to you. Oh my gosh, I would not be surprised if you had a lot of people who want to be in a relationship with you. Because the thing is, when it comes to being a wild and free spirit, for some reason that tends to attract people who want to pin them down, who want to, not in a bad way, who want to, you know, be that person that they're in a relationship with. You know what I mean? It's just something so beautiful about it. And then we have Aquarius. Yeah, you have the 2 signs of like free-spiritedness. Aquarius is free thinking, okay? Aquarius is thinking towards the future and just overall having, just being good, you know, wanting things to work out for the higher good. Also, this has nothing to do with the cards. I'm just kind of picking up that some of you guys might have like a cynical sense of humor, or just like a dry sense of humor that people find very charming. Okay, what do I want to say about Aquarius? I think many of you are generally aware of what's going on in the world. Like, you might keep up with the news, maybe not religiously, but like you're informed about what's going on in the world, okay? I know a lot of people are not. They don't keep up with that stuff, so that's why I felt drawn to mention that. But yeah, guys, that is the very unique impression you give off. Free-spirited, can't be pinned down, loyal, very dependable. You are the type of person who, like, once you have somebody in your circle, they are there for life, even though you still maintain your individuality throughout your friendships and relationships. You know, there's this very calming sense of patience and comfortability around you, and you just have such an eye for detail in the littlest things, and it adds to your charm. If I could summarize you with one word, it would be charming. Okay, so thank you for joining me on group number 4. I would love to be your friend. Okay, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Introduce yourself down in the comment box, and, you know, just give us an introduction on who you are and how this might have resonated with you, okay? I'd love to read it. Like this video to help me out, and if you want a personal reading with me one-on-one, the link to that is in the description box. spiritpsychic.org, not .com, .org. I just added some new readings there that you can get. Messages from spirit guides reading. I have an aura reading, and you can get either a 30-minute or 1-hour reading on any questions or situations that you're in that you need guidance from spirit, okay? These are personal readings where it's just you and me. I'm not channeling for a big group of people like here. It's one-on-one, your spirit guides, your answers, your future. So go ahead and check that out, all right? Thank you guys. Bye.